to do other things. I mean, we just came out, we've been here about a half an hour, and we're freezing.
For most people, New Year's Eve is a way to say goodbye to last year's failures and hello to this year's success. Ringing in the new year has always been a reason to celebrate, and First Night in Worcester has a lot of people welcoming 1997.
Start of something new, obviously, like we all talked about, and we are hoping for something better, as everyone does in the coming year.
And what do you think of big celebrations like this?
I think it's the best of a bad situation right now with all the cold and everything. I kind of think it brings the community together.
However you spend your New Year's, celebrate safely, and keep in mind this year is a brand new start. And time now to take a first look at our forecast on Newswatch 3 live at 10. Tonight, mostly clear and cold, low around 0 degrees. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high in the mid-20s, and we'll have a full look at our extended forecast coming up later on in the newscast.
And coming up on Newswatch 3, we will let you know what's open and what's closed on the first day of 1997.
Also, area police have some valuable advice on how to stay safe and out of jail this New Year's Eve.
And later on in sports, John Holt will tell us about one basketball team who did not have a victorious New Year's Eve. You are watching Newswatch 3 live at 10.
Tonight is a night to celebrate, but too often those celebrations can turn into nightmares when drivers get behind the wheel of a car after drinking. The state police are doing everything they can to avoid any tragedies ringing in the new year. That includes keeping a close eye on the roads. Once a trooper stops someone suspected of driving under the influence, that person is submitted to several roadside sobriety tests. Depending on the outcome of those tests, the driver may be brought to the station where they are asked to take a breathalyzer.
The person submits to the test and they blow .08 or greater, they're subject to suspension of license and court proceedings. If they refuse such tests, that person's automatically be suspended for at least 120 days.
Drinking and driving does not pay, literally. Not only is it dangerous, but it's expensive. It could cost a first offender over $4,000 after all the court time, fees, and fines. And even though the police will not be setting up sobriety checkpoints along the roads, authorities will still be on the lookout tonight.
Instead of sobriety checkpoints, we're going to have extra patrols on the road, specifically looking for persons who are possibly drinking and driving. So we're going to be out there looking for those people.
You have other options. Designate a driver who won't drink, take a cab or public transportation, or just stay over at the place where you're partying. Please be safe whatever you do. It's not just your life, it's everyone out on the roads. And while most people look forward to New Year's Eve with anticipation, there are those who find this night to be extremely difficult. Recovering alcoholics have an especially hard time during the holidays. Newswatch 3's Amy Pankenier has some tips for those who are trying to stay sober.
Liza, New Year's Eve means parties, celebrations, and for many people, drinking. But what about those people who want to stay sober tonight? Joining me now is Mary Kirby. She's with AdCare Hospital, which specializes in the treatment of alcohol and drug abuse. Thanks for joining us, Mary.
Hi, Mommy.
My first question is, for folks who want to stay sober tonight, what are some of their options?
The best thing for people who want to stay sober tonight is to place themselves in sober situations. There are AA meetings that people can go to throughout the evening. There's the Alkathon that will be running all night long. And to really think through what kind of parties, events, etc., that's safe for them to be at. It needs to be a thoughtful thing.
Now, why is it that holidays like New Year's Eve and St. Patrick's Day are difficult for people who want to stay sober?
There's an incredible encouragement culturally for people to get high or to drink heavily on those days, and people associate those times with heavy substance abuse, so that it can be a time where people might feel more tempted to use their substance again.
Thanks, Mary. Now, there are a lot of support services available. AdCare Hospital has a 1-800-ALCOHOL number that you can call if you're looking for support tonight. And once again, the best advice is if you want to stay sober, be with people who also want to stay sober. Reporting from AdCare Hospital, I'm Amy Pankenier. Back to you.
Thanks, Amy. And once again, Alcoholics Anonymous is holding an Alkathon tonight with supporters available throughout the evening.
Worcester police now have a powerful weapon against crime. A canine unit was added to the force recently, and Newswatch 3's Liza Benedict spent the day learning about these dedicated crime fighters.
Worcester criminals beware. You've got some extra patrols after you now, and these canines can sniff you out.
So what's the police canine unit? If you don't come out, I'm going to send in the dog.
2 years ago, Officer Steve Cordes submitted a proposal for a full canine unit. Up until that point, he had been the only dog handler on the force. But today, 5 dogs and their handlers help keep the streets safe.
The dogs have gotten people that have done house breaks. In fact, just 3 weeks ago, there were 2 separate house breaks, 2 separate arrests, both done by the dogs. The dogs have been able to find articles of evidence that have been discarded. The dogs have done tracks and have been able to locate people like that.
The program is a huge success so far. The dogs have helped police find everything from drugs to criminals and guns. It takes just one word from a canine officer to send these animals off and running.
I'll tell you one thing, you don't want one of these dogs after you, and even though Jake here seems pretty friendly, don't be fooled. He's purely professional.
And I soon found out how competent Jake could be at his work. The dogs and their handlers have a strong relationship based on mutual respect. In fact, it's not uncommon for a retired canine to spend the rest of his life with his former partner.
How do you feel about your dog personally?
He's the best dog in the unit. He's a great dog.
Once you start spending a lot of time with the dog, within a week, that dog is just so bonded and so willing to work. And this type of breed, it makes it even a lot easier.
But not for the criminals. Liza Benedict, Newswatch 3.
Officer Cordes tells Liza he would like to expand the program to 6 dogs by next year.
Now, Newswatch 3 live at 10 with anchors Margie O'Brien and Martin Lorenz. Winner of the New England Cable Television Association Public Service Award. This is your news, Worcester County, Newswatch 3.
Police prevent a melee at City Hall Plaza, and many Worcester County residents went without power today after a transformer exploded.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Margie O'Brien.
And I'm Liza Benedict. Martin has the night off. Worcester police were called in to rescue a man after a fight on City Hall Plaza.
Police say that Joseph Booker was arrested for assault with a dangerous weapon following a fight with another youth. Booker allegedly sliced the young man's ear, walked away, and tried to throw the knife away. Police on bike patrol found the knife on Front Street near the side of City Hall Plaza. The victim received care on the scene. Police are investigating whether this is a gang-related activity.
Over 30,000 homes and businesses were left without power for several hours today after an explosion at the Mass Electric power plant in Millbury. Newswatch 3's Amy Pankenier tells us the explosion happened in one of the transformers at about 8:30 this morning, but 2 other additional fireballs at the site made controlling the accident dangerous.
Mass Electric work crews thought they had the problem almost under control when they heard gurgling, a sure sign of danger.
We heard the gurgling and we realized that something was going to blow.
And that was when the 3rd fireball erupted, engulfing 2 transformers and sending waves of intense heat and billowing black clouds into the sky.
You could feel the heat on your face, on the back of your neck as we started to evacuate the scene.
The flames that continue to burn behind me were originally sparked by the explosion, but continue to be fed by the oil usually used to keep the transformer cool. Emergency vehicles raced to the scene to try to control the blaze, including the Worcester Airport Rescue Truck, which specializes in putting out dangerous fuel fires like this one.
You don't use water on oil, because if you do, you spread the fire.
Because of the danger involved in fighting this fire, Mass Electric was asked to shut down the entire substation.
We have totally de-energized this substation as of right now.
And this is a pretty major substation in this area?
This is a major substation, not just for this area, but for all of New England.
Investigators still aren't sure what sparked the explosion and say they may have trouble figuring it out.
Damage like this, it's very difficult to determine what happened because a lot of your evidence went up with the fire.
Meantime, both firefighters and workers say the accident at this power station is one of the worst they've seen. Amy Pankenier, Newswatch 3.
Mass Electric says most of the power has been restored to the region, but the transformer damaged in the explosion won't be fixed anytime soon.
Senator Ted Kennedy has been in our area these past few days campaigning for his fellow Democrats. Last night he attended a rally for Mike Donahue. Congressional candidate Jim McGovern was also there. And today Victoria Kennedy, Senator Kennedy's wife, did some stumping for McGovern.
Jim McGovern stands so strongly on the side of education, on the side of health care, on the side of protecting our seniors, and protecting our environment. He cares about domestic violence, abuse of women. He volunteers at a domestic violence shelter for abused women. And these are things that matter to real people in their everyday lives.
On Newswatch 3, the senator spent the day campaigning with Jim McGovern.
Time now to take a first look at the forecast on Newswatch 3 live at 10. Tonight will be clear with some patchy fog later, lows 35 to 40. Tomorrow is going to be sunny, high in the mid-60s.
And we'll also have the full forecast later in the newscast. And also coming up on Newswatch 3 live at 10, we'll explore violence in the workplace.
Also, Deb Daigle will spotlight former J. Giles frontman Peter Wolf.
And later, John Holt will bring us all the high school football action. You're watching Newswatch 3 live at 10.
Violence in the workplace is all too common. Today at Worcester Polytechnical Institute, a conference was held to deal with violence when on the job. The Colleges of Worcester Consortium held a day-long conference. The conference examined the danger employees face on the job. Statistics show that over 1,000 homicides occur at the workplace each year. Approximately 1 million assaults are reported annually.
The primary reason, of course, is robbery. About 75 to 85% of all the homicides in the workplace is around robbery. And the biggest risk group, of course, are the taxi cab drivers. Unlike the general homicides of about 20,000 in our society, which are more on a personal issue, with homicides in the workplace, it is primarily a robbery issue.
The Department of Justice reports that more than half of all incidences of workplace violence were not reported to the police.
A group of Maine South residents decided to take a sweep at Cleveland. Believe me, it is spooktacular.
Well, something else, legendary musician Peter Wolf is kicking off the concert series at E.M. Lowe's Palladium this evening. And Newswatch 3's entertainment reporter Deborah Daigle was given a private acoustical concert earlier today.
I used to follow one wherever it would lead me. A lot of lovers had me when they really didn't need me.
Peter Wolf has come back to his Worcester roots. The J. Giles Band, which launched his career, got its start when several band members met at Worcester Polytech. In fact, some of the group's earliest gigs were at clubs including Tammany Hall and Sir Morgan's Cove.
Well, it feels really good because there's a lot of history involved, and it's always nice to come around and go around, and there's a lot of memories and a lot of old friends, so it's nice to sort of stop along the long, long line down in Worcestertown.
The Long Line is the name of Wolf's latest CD, which contains a variety of material, including ballads, which Peter does as much justice to as his signature brand of driving rock and rhythm and blues.
Standing at the station, another empty track. I'm waiting for my baby's slow train, but it's never coming back, and it feels like I'm wasting my time.
Wolf says he might consider reuniting with the old J. Giles crew for a concert, but he's really quite pleased with his current street ensemble and the success of his CD.
The new record is sort of a little more personal record, but it's still good old primal, get down, dirty, take out your false teeth, mom, and I want to suck your gums, rock and roll. All right, Johnny A., let me hear you.
Oh, yeah. Start. There's some who mend, some who tear apart. I'm no child, I can read a map.
Sounds good. Incidentally, Wolf's album was produced right here in Worcester County at Longview Recording Studio in North Brookfield.
And John Holt joins us now for Friday's Football Frenzy.
And the big story tonight is Oxford. They beat Millbury, and they are still perfect on the season. The Pirates pounding the Woolies. We'll have the highlights and much more up next in sports. 3 nights, it all started this evening in Springfield, and the Cats lose it 4-2, dropping one to the Falcons. The Celtics came to Worcester tonight for an exhibition game with the T-Wolves, and they absolutely stunk up the joint in the first half. Local fans giving Dino and company a warm pregame reception, but right off the bat, Minnesota took control. Kevin Garnett and Tom Gugliotta playing pass before Gugliotta dunks it down. Ex-Celtic captain Dee Brown back in the lineup tonight. Beat Cam the J. Not a close game in the first half. The T-Wolves bombing the Seas, but they barely hold on tonight. 116-115. Good second half for the Celtics, but at times in the first half, UMass looks like the best team in the state basketball team out the Celtics. They look pretty pitiful.
Yeah, it's too bad, but you never know. With all the young talent, they could be better in a couple of years. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Great football action, John.
Thanks.
Okay.
Good job. Thanks, John. Time now to take a final look at our forecast on Newswatch 3 live at 10. Tonight's clear, patchy fog later on, lows 35 to 40s. Tomorrow's sunny, high in the mid-60s. And taking a look at our extended forecast, Sunday is going to be partly cloudy, but still pretty nice in the 60s. Monday's morning showers in the 60s also, and Tuesday's going to be windy and dropping temperatures down in 50s.
But it looks like we're going to have a great weekend.
I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, and just a reminder to set those clocks back on Sunday. This has been Newswatch 3 live at 10. I'm Margie O'Brien. Have a great weekend.
And I'm Liza Benedict. Thanks for joining us.
Good night.